Well, for us, external and independent feedback as it is, IR Awards, is extremely important and really drive us to keep improving year after year. So being distinguished by these awards confirms in our view that our key messages are coming across and that we are doing things well, being helpful, setting the right priorities and communicating effectively. So, in particular, in the case of the Institutional Investor Awards, it's a great honor to be acknowledged by these awards, and we are very grateful to investors and analysts for recognizing and valuing our work. Consistency, transparency, and reliability. I consider these to be the core principles to IR, and I try to incorporate them into my daily work. Having a deep knowledge about the company and the industry developments is also absolutely critical to build trust and confidence, namely for those companies that operate in more specific or niche sectors, as it is the case of Corticeira Amorim. I particularly value engaging internally and fostering relationships, as these allow us to access to people with great expertise in very distinct areas. I also try to be proactive and accessible, both in good and especially in bad times. Challenging times require an even greater effort to be closer to investors and analysts, to clarify their doubts and questions, but also to be sharing our concerns and to eventually provide more realistic expectations if needed. I'm also very straightforward, and even on tougher themes. If I'm not 100% sure about something immediately, I will always say, I don't know that now, but I will look into it fully and will revert as soon as possible. And I would probably just highlight the final point. It's a passion and a pride for working with cork that make me an enthusiastic of this unique raw material. I love to speak about the sustainable story of cork and Corticeira Amorim, so it's always a great pleasure to share what I know with both the buy side and the sell side. It's an important and a critical tool, particularly for some functions, as this makes things easier and allow a quicker response for IR teams in general and as in particular. If you ask me, will artificial intelligence will ever replace IR? I don't think that will be the case. Even if all the benefits it brings, I think that IR is also about relations, both internally and external, about building empathy and trust, about creating a consistent track record. And in that sense, I do not believe that artificial intelligence will be able to fully replicate these to the same extent. In my view, a lot of things must and will change in the future, but I don't think we are heading towards an ESG bubble. We are currently running against the clock, and time is short for all the things that need to be implemented, and this naturally translates into increased and excessive pressure for all and from all. I believe that as sustainability knowledge evolves and deepens, that it inevitably results in a different understanding of what sustainability truly is, and that it goes beyond reporting and metrics. And then I think we will see it, or increasingly be seen as a key important component of how long-term value is perceived. Even if there is really a long road ahead, namely in terms of harmonization and uniformization, I'm quite optimistic for the future. I actually believe that in 10 years' time, ESG will no longer exist as an autonomous theme, but that it will be fully integrated in investing practices and naturally incorporated in the company's strategies. It was mostly the constant challenge, the diversity, and the deep knowledge it requires. It's not just about financials, but also marketing, positioning, strategy, sustainability, and to be on the top of all these themes. It requires internal interactions with very knowledgeable people from different areas and backgrounds, but also with investors and analysts that can have very different views and perspectives. All these elements bring complexity and challenge to IR, and also a continuous need to improve and further deepen our personal knowledge, which is absolutely fundamental to understand and assess different points of views, as well as to be able to think fast and react quickly when needed. So I would say that IR, it's really very diversified. Every day is different from the day before. I don't think I would have liked to be born in a different era, but if I did have the option to travel to another time and return, I would love the experience to living for a week in the glorious days of Constantinople during the Byzantine Empire. I would like to stroll in the streets, mingle in the crowd, and enjoy the architecture, its dynamism, the decoration of the mansions and the palace with the marble, the mosaics, the paintings, and of course seeing and praying at the magnificent Basilica of Hagia Sophia. It is from the Leopard, Visconti's movie, based on one of the best books I've read, Il Gatto Pardo, and it's not the famous "if we want things to stay as they are, things have to change," but equally notable, a palace in which you know every room isn't worth living in. I think it brilliantly highlights how knowledge and the aim to know more really stimulates our minds and enriches our lives. Hike the Pico Mountain in Azores, not for the hike itself, but for the view from the top of it. Write a novel based on the life of a Portuguese entrepreneur from my hometown that lived in the beginning of the 20th century, and sail in the Baikal Lake in Siberia.